So I've divided this Power BI development lifecycle into 6. So what is step 1? Okay. So in step 1, we are going to deal with getting the data. To build your report, definitely we need to get the data first, right? So the very first step is to get our data. So connecting to data sources. So there are n number of data sources that Power BI supports. So this is what is the step 1. Okay. And step 2, once we get the data, what we need to do? We need to make sure that data is ready for reporting. So most of the times the data is not ready for reporting. Maybe because of various reasons, the data might have a lot of null values. Maybe the people who have entered the data, maybe if it is coming from Excel or whatever application, they might have did a lot of mistakes, right? So we need to clean it up. You have to make sure the data is, clean. It is not having any irrelevant data, not having any null values, right? Delete unwanted things and make sure it is clean. To do that, we use a lot of transformations, which is a specific term. What is a transformation, you could ask? That's just an option in Power BI desktop. There's an basically this particular step 2 is done in Power Query Editor. So in that Power Query Editor, there are a lot of steps, UI steps. So you need to just click on some options that will automatically take care of cleaning up the data. Okay. So those are called transformations. So that is all about step 2. So once you have cleaned the data, now your data is also ready. So what is your step 3? You have to build a model. So now the question comes, let's say I have one table and I pull the table, I've connected to that table, and I've cleaned the table. But there is no reason of creating a data model, because the data model, or it also called as a creating relationships, this comes into picture when there are more than one table. Okay. When you have a single table, there is that itself is a data model. We have a single table. But the model comes into picture when you have more than one table, right? When you have more than one table, there is a scope for relationship, right? That is what is data model. So that is step 3, sorry. So once step 3 is done, we have to go to step 4. So again, in step 4, what we do, this is basically creating measures. So you might have heard about measures, right? Whenever you have heard about Power BI, you might have heard about people talking about DAX or measures, something like that. So we can create measures using DAX formulas. So the DAX is a specific language, just like any other language, not exactly like other programming language. It's not like huge code as in such, but there is a small formula language where you can write it down, saying that, okay, in order to calculate something, just like in Excel, you might have seen, right? To sum up some things, you need to write some formula. Just like that, you need to write a formula, sum of something. So those are called measures. Once you write a formula using DAX, those are termed as measures. So in step 4, what we are going to do is, we are going to identify the numbered columns, right? The key measures or the metrics, the KPIs, whatever you term it. So we identify the things and we're going to write some DAX formulas so that those are ready for our reporting purposes, so that those calculated or whatever measures that we have created can be used in the next step. Okay. So this is kind of a crucial step, because step 4, that's the reason I've highlighted in the red color, if you notice, right? Because we can call this step 4 as the heart of the Power BI. Okay. So basically, to be frank, like there are so many people come into Power BI. You can see there are a lot of people in YouTube. You might have seen a lot of people elsewhere also. So you can differentiate people, from a regular to the pro version just by how they deal with DAX. So for DAX, they need to put in a lot of practice, a lot of effort, and a lot of understanding of the logic. So you should be committed. Basically, it's like to kind of understand the concept and then practice whatever you learn. To repeatedly practice, then you will be kind of mastering DAX. Okay, it is the heart of Power BI basically. Okay, so we're going to dive into that when we are in that particular stage. We're going to dive into very deep, because we're going to start from very scratch and do a lot of functions, a lot of time intelligence functions. We're going to practice. Okay, so you need not worry about that. Going to step 5, creating visualizations. So it's all about, you might have already know about it, because people know Power BI means they think this step 5. They don't think all this 1 to 4 steps. They only think step 5. Power BI means step 5 to them. Okay. So that's where we reach to step 5 after all those 4 steps. In fact, we spend a lot of time in step 2. Okay, sometimes depending on the data that you have, you might spend a lot of time in step 2 depending on the data that you get it. Okay, so finally, once you build a proper fancy report, you can publish into cloud, right? So you have a report built on your desktop, right? You have worked so hard, you cross 5 steps. Now the report is ready. You want to share it with world, right? You want to share it with public, your manager. So that's where you go into step 6 and you publish it to the cloud, which is called as a Power BI service. Okay. So once you publish it, that will be available to share with anybody in the organization. Also the organization, there are a lot of other options to share it. So that's where the step 6 is. Okay, so this is the entire life cycle of a Power BI. So we are going to have a quick demo on this so that we will be navigating each and every step very quickly. Okay,